During a busy tour of the Middle East, which took in a visit to the Typhoon Force as it participated in Exercise Magic Carpet in Oman, speaking at the Dubai International Air Chiefs Conference and attending the Dubai Air Show, Air Marshal Gerry Mayhew generously made time to chat to A2&i. Air Marshal Mayhew is the Deputy Commander Operations, or DCOM Ops, within RAF Air Command. According to the RAF's own website, this makes him the senior Royal Air Force warfighter responsible for the conduct of air operations both at home and overseas. Air Marshal Mayhew was commissioned into the Royal Air Force in 1988, initially serving as an air traffic control officer in RAF Germany. He then remustered as a pilot and was posted to the Jaguar force, initially serving on No. 6 Squadron and becoming a qualified weapons instructor, or QY. The Jaguar force was something of an elite, since only the best were selected to fly single-seat fast jet aircraft. He then undertook an exchange tour flying the F-16C with the United States Air Force, before returning to the Jaguar force as a flight commander on No. 41 Squadron. After a short ground-based tour in central Iraq, he took command of No. 13 Squadron, flying the Tornado GR Mark IV in 2007. In 2013, Mayhew became Air Officer Scotland, commanding RAF Lucas, where he qualified on the Typhoon. Gerry Mayhew has amassed nearly 3,000 flying hours and he's logged over 200 operational sorties. Since then, Mayhew has been the Senior Appointments Team Leader in the MOD and the Assistant Director Joint Strike in the Directorate of Joint Capability. He was the Deputy Principal Staff Officer to the then Chief of the Defence Staff, General Sir David Richards, and he worked in the Cabinet Office as the Deputy Director responsible for the defence and homeland security aspects of the 2015 Strategic Defence and Security Review. He was appointed AOC No. 1 Group in April 2016, and he became DCOM Ops in May 2019. Mayhew has completed the Advanced and Higher Command and Staff courses and the UK Pinnacle course. Tipped by some to become the next Chief of the Air Staff, Mayhew was, according to the Times newspaper, one of 3 officers invited to apply when Boris Johnson asked his Defence Secretary to put forward some lower-ranking candidates for the even more senior role of Chief of the Defence Staff, the overall head of the armed forces. This was reportedly intended to provide Johnson with a broader pool of candidates to select from, even if it meant the officers concerned skipping a rank. Mayhew reportedly declined this invitation. Respected for his intellect and his capability, Mayhew is well regarded by all those who've dealt with him and served under him, and he's well respected as a leader and well liked as a man. People say that he's fundamentally unchanged since he was a junior pilot and remains true to himself and genuine to the core. A2&i found interviewing him a genuine pleasure as well as a real honour, and we thank him for his time, good humour and patience. Here he is. So, Operation Shader, clearly one of the most important things that the RAF has done in the post-war period. How's it going?
Op Shader continues to be a really successful operation for the Royal Air Force and for the wider coalition. And I think that is the measure of success. The coalition has stayed close together. The output of the forces continue to go after the beating heart of Daesh, even if it is split, separated and different from its original position. But the decision-making of our young women and men out on operations, and indeed from remote operations like you see from our Reaper Force, continues to give me great pride every day. They're doing a great job. It is in a dangerous position still, and it might not be on the front page, but our folks are doing a great job day in, day out, and more power to them.
We must have degraded Daesh now, to the extent that it really is a very difficult problem to fix, find and strike them.
Yeah, as you say, as with any of these kinds of movements that come up and down, they are challenging, but there are still hearts beating that we've got to get after to ensure that that threat doesn't exist.
You spoke about interoperability as being a means of countering adversaries who seek to exploit our seams and to exploit our legal, moral and ethical thresholds. Is that what the RAF's increasing engagement in the Middle East is about?
As part of our engagement with so many partners around the world, it's about how does the sum of the parts make something that is greater together. And you're right, it is not always in the world of kinetic operations. It's coming together to share, to understand, to learn from each other. It's not just about the Brits and the Royal Air Force leading here. It's working with so many partners and friends, and particularly, as you say, re-engaging in a much more fruitful way with our friends and partners here in the Middle East. So be that from Oman, from Jordan, from Saudi Arabia, from the UAE, from Qatar, a long list, which is also a great joy to us. We're learning things day to day, and the flow is in both directions. This is not us giving, the grandiose Brits have arrived. This is a shared set of experiences and opportunities that allow us to work together against common threats.
So at the moment, obviously, Kuwait and Qatar are hogging the Typhoon headlines with their P3EB software and having an ESA with a repositioner. Briefly, they're going to have the most capable Typhoons in the world. But obviously, you're now operational with jets with Centurion, lots more in the pipeline, including ECRS Mark II, which seems to me really exciting. So that must be really cheering for you.
I think you're absolutely right, John. And the great thing about this is, as a partner brings something new onto the aircraft, so do the rest of the community on Typhoon gain advantage from it in terms of capability, understanding and the like. So we are enjoying watching our friends and partners gain new capabilities on Typhoon, and we will be doing the same. It is going to be the backbone of the Royal Air Force for another 2 decades plus here for our combat air mass. So we will continue to invest, as you saw in the integrated review. And Typhoon is just one of those capitalizations that we're continuing to enjoy. F-35, A400, you're seeing Atlas, you're seeing us move to new fleets of Protector from Reaper. So the journey continues of the recapitalization to ensure that we're fit for a 21st century scenario and context that we find ourselves in. And that's good for the Royal Air Force, it's good for our partners, and it's good for the nation, because there's a huge industrial base here that we must consider as alongside the military output, and it's great that we're working together to do that.
And working together with industry in a way that arguably you never have before.
I think we've always enjoyed being, because of the standards that the Royal Air Force has set in global operations and activity, everything from the Central Flying School to how we do our operations, I think there's always been a really good label globally around the Royal Air Force. So if we can work with industry colleagues to ensure that we act as, forgive the term, shop window for them to say, hey, look, we use this, we operate this is how we're going to operate and develop it in the future, then it brings a real boon to industry because they can see the Royal Air Force as a flag and a kite mark for them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, sir.